felt like a tsunami of transformation just being here the last 4 years. And I think I've been told that those waves of transformation last your whole life. So even if you're not in college, if you're older, if you're younger, I really think you're going to have some very strong takeaways from today. But with all that being said, today doesn't happen without a lot of people, but most importantly, from the financial side, our sponsors. And I wanted to take a second to thank all of them. With our first tier, our Ripple sponsors, the Clemson University Honors College, Alejandro Mejia Teara, Clemson Libraries, and Jimmy John's. Thank you, Jimmy. And the stream sponsors, Ajay Erdumush, the Clemson College of Engineering, Computer, and Applied Sciences. We even got Clemson University Student Government on board. It was a huge deal. And our WAVE sponsors, the Synergy Mill, the Warner Family Foundation, and even speaker coach Michael Arnold. He is a multifaceted man, so we can't thank him enough either. And yeah, I learned that I was going to be MC for today, and I already got self-deprecating. I was like, I can't do that. Like, I'm not funny enough. I'm not good enough. Just this little voice in my brain, you know what I mean? But our next speaker showed me how to, silence that voice. I think you guys are going to love her. It's just a breadth of knowledge that flows out of her. She's a university ombuds here at Clemson. She's a certified mediator and conflict coach. And she has a master's in coexistence and conflict and community planning. Ladies and gentlemen, give a warm round of applause for our first speaker, Ms. Tessa Beyer.
I am not a good public speaker. I am not creative. I am not athletic. I am not as good a performer as my sister. These are some of the labels I heard growing up and believed for years. These labels were not put on me to make me feel bad, but they were imposed based on what people observed about me in childhood. I heard them and believed in them fully. Why wouldn't I? My parents, siblings, and friends were just calling it like they saw it, and it felt good to be understood. But were they really understanding me? Or were they just identifying my behavior and mistaking it for who I really was? Today, I want to talk about how some of the labels put on me were holding me back. Maybe some of the labels put on you have been holding you back too. I think about this all the time as I parent my 3 beautiful children. 8-year-old Zeke is outgoing and loves people. When he was 1, we took him to swim lessons, and he greeted every child and parent waiting by the side of the pool. One of the dads turned to us and said, "Wow, is he running for mayor?" 5-year-old Havila is quiet and loyal. We sometimes describe her as a cat, because if you play it cool, she will gravitate to you, and she will be loving and generous. But if you want her affection too much, she'll pretend you don't exist. 2-year-old Uriah is sweet and silly, and he loves his big brother and big sister. It's so easy for us to talk about how when Zeke grows up, he'll be a politician or a college president, and how when Javi grows up, she'll be a writer or a researcher. Based on his current personality, Uriah will be a contestant on The Bachelor, because it takes nothing for people to fall in love with him. But this kind of thinking is exactly what I want to talk about today. I'm identifying my kids' behavior and putting these labels on them. What if, as they grow up, this is not who they want to be? What if this doesn't fit who they actually are? Some of the labels put on me as a child fit then and still do. I'm an observer. I'm a perfectionist. I'm a rule follower. But for the labels that did not align with the real me, it took me years and a lot of work to overcome them. And I've developed some principles surrounding each one. So let's take them one by one. Number 1, I am not a good public speaker. When I say good here, I mean effective, but also comfortable. Why was this label put on me? Because I'm shy, quiet, introverted. When I was in 1st grade, we had to complete an All About Me project. My friends wrote that their favorite thing to do was ride their bike or play with their dog or arts and crafts. What did I put on my All About Me poster? My favorite thing to do is think. I like to be left alone to my thoughts. My dad was a tenured professor and later a dean, and he spoke to me often about the world of academia. I started college as a religion major, and I imagined a career of writing and researching and only emerging to interact with the outside world when forced. If I had to give a presentation for a course, I was terrified. One Thanksgiving break in college, I had a presentation to give the following Monday. I wrote out every word and practiced it hundreds of times. I can still picture myself practicing that presentation when my mom came to get me for Thanksgiving dinner. Then I ate quickly, said, "Mom, can I be excused? I've got to get back to practicing." But after I would give a presentation, the feedback I got was always positive. "You're a natural, Tessa," they would tell me. "You didn't seem nervous at all. You're good at this. Could you speak for our group?" I started to reconsider. I also found the world of researching and writing and avoiding interpersonal interaction deeply unsatisfying. I changed my major to social entrepreneurship, and I completed a program that had me pitch a nonprofit venture, Shark Tank style, to a group of faculty and industry insiders. I overcame the label, "not a good public speaker," with the power of and principle. Being shy doesn't mean I can't also do well in front of a large group. Here at Clemson, I work as the ombuds. And in this role, I create and give trainings on communication and conflict resolution and emotional intelligence. Last fiscal year, I delivered 58 trainings to groups of all sizes. I am shy, and I can be a good public speaker. Neither of those has to disqualify the other. Number 2, I am not creative. Everyone wants to be seen as creative. Remember those art shows in school where you hoped your work would be crowned with the blue ribbon, or at least an honorable mention? My wonderful parents oohed and awed appropriately at my glorified stick figures. When my mom threw me a baby shower a few years ago, we laughed at ourselves when we tried to create these paper flowers we saw on Pinterest. After our hilarious attempt, we stretched the budget and bought decorations instead. I mentioned I do a lot of trainings for work. A few years ago, I came up with a simple example on a single slide that encourages participants to ask questions before rushing to judgment. People will tell me, even years after they take a training with me, that they still think about that slide. It wasn't a painting or a sculpture, but it was an act of creativity, which made me realize there are lots of ways to be creative. I overcame the label, "not creative," with the redefinition principle. I am never going to win a blue ribbon at an art contest, but I can be creative in other ways. And when I started to see myself as creative, I leaned in. I came up with more stories and examples that teach people about conflict resolution differently. I also started making jewelry. I'm not going to quit my day job, but I'm having fun giving gifts that I create. And a close friend asked me to make the jewelry for her wedding. I am creative in the ways I define it. Number 3, I am not athletic. Growing up, I did the sports. I was on a soccer team, a softball team. I did tennis and swim team. I sucked. And I took it hard. As much as my mom painted it differently, I know my softball coach suggested I might want to sit out the next season, and then all the rest of them after that. The weekend after that conversation with the coach, my parents were trying to teach me how to ride a bike. I wasn't getting it. And after a particularly difficult fall, I screamed at them, "Can't you just accept I can't do this?" I quit. And to this day, I still don't know how to ride a bike. When I was in college, I was looking for a healthy way to relieve stress. I started running. If you don't run, starting to run is the worst. It's not fun, and it hurts. But one of the things I grew to love about running is that it had nothing to do with anyone else. I wasn't letting anyone down when I couldn't hit the ball, score a goal, or keep up on a family bike ride. I just put one foot in front of the other, as fast or as slow as I wanted. Remember how we've already established that I'm shy? Running is my alone time. I overcame the label not athletic with the priorities principle. I will never be an MVP on a softball team or lead a bike trip around the country, but those are not priorities to me. Running serves me because it helps me process and show up better for all the areas of my life that matter. Since college, I've run 1 full marathon and 10 half marathons. I run a few times a week, or if I'm really stressed. I am athletic in the ways that align with my priorities. Number 4, I am not as good a performer as my sister. My big sister, Kim, started doing community theater productions in high school. She was in many, and she was good. When I was 10, I did Annie with her, and I absolutely loved it. But to my friends and family and those in the theater world, I was always my sister's little sister. After freshman year of high school, my sister had graduated and moved away. I decided to try out for a musical. I sang On My Own from Les Mis for the audition, and I nailed it. Afterwards, the director looked at me and said, "Your sister helped with that, didn't she?" My involvement depended on and revolved around her, whether she was in the show or not, or even in the same state or not. And my sister was, then and today, a better performer than me. So I stopped. I pretended I lost interest, but I hadn't, and I was devastated. It took me 20 years to ask myself why I would let a comparison like that keep me from doing something that I loved. I overcame the label not as good a performer as my sister with the anti-comparison principle. Why was I comparing myself to her anyway? Why were the people in my life comparing me to her? My sister might be more talented than me. Who cares? There will always be someone better, smarter, prettier than I am. I am not going to let that stop me. Not again. Last September, for the first time in 20 years, I stepped onto the community theater stage again. I was in Oklahoma, and I had a blast. I will perform when I want to, regardless of how good other performers are. So let's recap. The power of and principle says that what we are is not mutually exclusive. We contain multitudes. We are beautifully nuanced. I can love and cherish people and need time away from them. What is something you think you are disqualified from being? The redefinition principle says that we can define things in a way that works for us. What is happiness to you? What is success to you? What is something you need to redefine in a way that works for you? The priorities principle says that we should identify what's important to us and do that. Let's stop wasting time chasing what we think we should do and do what aligns with our priorities. What is something you need to start or stop doing because of what's important to you? And the anti-comparison principle says that what other people are doing in life is great, but that can be a parallel to you in your life. Their choices and talents don't have to change what you do. This one can also be called the get over it principle. Someone is better at you than something, get over it. Do what matters to you. What is something you aren't doing because people around you are better at it? I like public speaking, and I like to be left alone in my thoughts. I'm creative when I design trainings and make jewelry for my friends to wear. I'm athletic enough to leave my stress at the track or on the trail. I can perform in a musical, even if my sister would be better at it than I am. I'm other things too, but these are the 4 that took me the most work to overcome. Not to overcome who I am, because I've always had this in me, but to overcome the labels that limited what I thought was possible. So why am I telling you this story? To encourage you to think through the labels you've always believed about yourself. Growing up, were you called bossy? Were you called timid? Were you called girly, stubborn, a troublemaker? These labels might not be all bad, but they can be limiting. Do they fit? Do they serve you? What labels do you need to overcome? Because they are not who you are. Zeke might be a lighthouse operator, embracing a life of solitude. Javi might be a talk show host, enjoying life with all eyes on her. Uriah might be an astronaut or an architect. They can be whatever and whoever they want to be, not just what their early years made it seem like they would be good at. They can be whatever and whoever they want to be. So can I. So can you.
I am a good MC. I am a good MC. I am a good MC. It's just, I'm telling you, these people are amazing. It's on top of her full-time career, her full-time job. She makes jewelry and runs half marathons on the side. These people are nuts. And it's the theme of these people being impeccable is just going to keep on rolling, especially with our next speaker. She reigns in from South Africa to South Carolina, which could be a TED Talk in and of itself, but she eloquently expands on it. She is an academic at Clemson. She's a leader. Most importantly, she's a transformer of policies, of education, of the status quo. And ladies and gentlemen, just give a huge, warm round of applause for Dr. Gugu Salela.
What happens when the first leader you know is not a president, not a professor, not even someone with a title, but a woman standing tall in a world that told her to bow her head? That was my mother, pregnant in the apartheid South Africa, unmarried, and at risk of losing her job, facing whispers, shame, closed doors, and the fear of survival itself. And yet, every morning she rose. She carried me before I took my first breath, and carried our community long after. You see, in the 90s, during the height of HIV and AIDS epidemic in South Africa, fear spread faster than the virus itself. People kept their distance, some left food at the gate and hurried away. Silence replaced visits. But not my mother. She went in. She cooked meals. She bathed the weak. She reminded people that dignity does not vanish with illness. She would gather women over tea and say, Bafazi, women, when one of us falls, we all catch them. Fear makes us forget who we are, but Ubuntu reminds us. That was my first lesson in leadership. Not about rules, not about power, but about refusing to let anyone fall alone. That lesson followed me from the global south all the way to the deep south. Yep, the south to the deep south. I expected difference, but what surprised me were the echoes of home. You see, in South Africa, we call it Ubuntu. It means I am because we are. It means your humanity is tied to mine. It means we rise or fall together. And you know what? I saw Ubuntu here even if no one called it that. I remember 2 years ago, a year ago, there was an event on campus on gender-based violence. 3 women stood out. 1, a black judge who rose from family court. 2, a Latina professor, a survivor herself. 3, a white Southern attorney, quiet but fierce. 3 women, 3 voices, 1 vision. That was Ubuntu. In South Africa, Ubuntu looked like this. Neighbors sharing sugar because next week you might need their flour. Small houses, extended families, no privacy, but deep connection. In the Deep South, it looked different, but I felt it too. A pot of chicken and rice soup showing up at your door when you are sick. A stranger holding the door and asking about your mama. That is also Ubuntu. So my first week here in South Carolina, Clemson, I had lunch with my friend Jenny, who's also a mentor. So I was like to Jenny, I do not understand Americans and dogs. Because in Africa, specifically in South Africa, dogs got the house. But here, they sleep in the bed and wear sweaters. Little did I know. Because then I met Rocky, my friend and mentor, Laurie's dog. Rocky became my walking partner. I spoke to him in my native language, isiZulu, and he understood everything. I mean, everything. Rocky reminded me that Ubuntu can even come on 4 legs. Sometimes leadership is just showing up with a wagging tail. Rest in peace, Rocky. You taught me more about loyalty than most textbooks or people ever could. And thank you, Laurie, for sharing Rocky with me. And you know what? That too is Ubuntu. Here, I built family, mentees, mentors, students, friends across race. I remember one student once brewed homemade kombucha for me, because I love kombucha, my students will tell you, and brought it to class. Another one walked in with fresh flowers just to brighten my day. That is Ubuntu. Care lived out in the smallest, most beautiful ways. And sometimes, it even showed up in unexpected places. Like my student and I debating The Real Housewives, yes, that franchise. We argued about who is the best cast, but we ended up talking about women's leadership. Because even on reality TV, you see women negotiating power, alliances, and influence. Now, I'm not saying The Real Housewives should be on syllabus, but maybe, just maybe, hear me out, it could count as homework. And then there was Diane, who is a friend as well as a mentor. I have so many mentors, who had visited South Africa before 1994. I remember she shared photos, stories, and memories of my homeland during its most fragile time. Through her words, she gave me pieces of home while I was still learning what home could mean here. That too was Ubuntu. And you know where else I found Ubuntu? The supermarkets. All the women in the South, always ready to share collard green recipes, even when you did not ask, or even if they don't know that you can cook. They would say, baby, you have to cook it this way, and do not forget the cornbread. That was the spirit of sharing, of passing wisdom across generations. That is also Ubuntu. So when I speak of waves of transformation, I mean women everywhere, across the global South and the Deep South, women who led by carrying others, women who refuse to let go, women who build even when the world feels broken. Leadership is not about waiting for permission. It is not about titles. It is present. It is responsibility. It is remembering this truth. When one falls, we all catch them. So waves of transformation do not crash once and vanish. They ripple across oceans, across generations, and right here in this room. Because even the smallest drop can start a wave. Or, as we say in my native language, isiZulu, umuntu ngumuntu ngabantu. A person is a person through other people. And you know what? Together, we are unstoppable. Asante sana. Thank you.
We are unstoppable. We are. And it's yeah, that's just another outstanding speaker. And just on the Real Housewives note, I know plenty of girls here at Clemson University that would be very pro that being on the syllabus. It's all I hear about nowadays. And also I didn't realize that dogs internationally were not just meant to be pet. My dog would not last a day in South Africa. I mean that from right here. My dog stopped barking. She sleeps through the doorbell now. It's like, isn't that what you're here to do? I don't know. She's lousy, but our next speaker is really, really, really important if you ask a guy like me, because I go around, I'm a senior here at Clemson, I go to class, I do all the things. All I hear about is this guy, Al. I forget his last name. It's all Al, or AI, as the kids are calling him. It's all I hear about. And like I said, I'm entering the workforce, and it's freaking me out. It's freaking me out, this guy, Al, because all I hear is that it's coming to take my job. It's coming to take everything that I stand for. It's just like, I'll tell you what, if that's a wave of transformation, I'm worried the wave is gonna take out my house, because I just don't know. I really just don't know. But our next speaker kind of took into consideration all my fear and gave me a good way to resolve it. So I think I'm not the only one in this boat that's a little bit afraid of AI and what it has to offer. But our next speaker also, it's just one of those guys, you ever meet him and you ever meet a person and you're just like, do you have more hours in the day than I do? Like, it's just like, I swear he's moving off at 26 hours when I got 24. He's a founder and president of multiple companies. He has over 20 years experience in commercial construction, and he's a specialist in remote assistance and AI integration. Welcome to the stage, Mr. Chad Gill.
Good morning, everybody. That's exactly what it sounds like when I come home from work every day. Okay, I want to talk to the people who are entering the workforce, the ones that are coming out of graduation. I want you to imagine that graduation day, the one that you've been working for. You're there, your family's there, your parents are excited about no more loans, and you're coming across that stage. You've got the cap, you've got the gown, you've got it all, and we're going to get 0.5s even. Those are important, my kids tell me. You grab that diploma, and you step down off of that stage into the real world. That's exciting. And what you find is that the career you've been chasing, the job you've been talking about and you've been studying and lurking for, and everything, it has now become nothing more than a prompt in an AI model. This is not a headline from 2030. This is today, and this is tomorrow, and this is the future. This is what you're up against. The CEO of Anthropic, one of the top 5 AI labs, said that in the next 3 to 5 years, there will be a 50% reduction in entry-level white-collar jobs. Half the jobs you're looking for, gone. AI will have replaced those. New grad unemployment currently sits at 9.3%. That is twice the national average. Underemployment is now the norm. 52% of recent graduates are currently working a job that does not require their degree. And compared to January of 2023, there are 35% fewer entry-level job openings. Now, when I look at these statistics, I don't just see numbers. You see, I'm a business owner, I'm an employer, entrepreneur, but I'm a father of 4. So this story is personal to me. I'm living it right along with you. 2 of my kids are still in college, one here at Clemson and should graduate this year. First raise in 8 years I'll get. So I came here to convince you of 2 things. This is real. It's inevitable and it's happening. And second, that you can learn to not only survive this, but to thrive in it and to surf this AI wave into your future. Let me give you an example. No company is going to be excluded from this. Like a tsunami coming up on a small island, everything will be hit. Education. In Austin, Texas, there's a school called the Alpha School. And what they're doing is they're integrating AI inside of their education. They can compress an entire school day of curriculum into just 2 hours. And how do they do that? They're using fully integrated AI apps that work with the kids. And I'm not talking about dry chat bots that are lifeless. I'm talking about apps that are working with the kids and seeing where they are in their mode, their modalities that they like to learn with, the subjects that they enjoy, and tying it to their curriculum. And the teachers, are they gone? No, but they've been reimagined. They call them guides now. And what do? They do what they love. They mentor, they coach, they talk to these kids, they do experiential projects that support their education. And the results are showing that they're learning 2.5 times faster. Education is just the first glimpse. Every industry will need its alpha moment. Companies are going to have to adapt or wither. Employees are going to have to not only embrace change, but constant and continuous change. You see, this career ladder that we used to think about, it's gone. The bottom rungs have been cut out and removed from industry. What you're walking into is going to much more look like this American Ninja Warrior course. Your obstacles will change daily. With every update and every new model, you will get new obstacles. There will be walls, there will be ropes, there will be little spinny wheels, sometimes over water. And what matters most will not be your alma mater, it will not be your resume, it will be nothing about a fixed set of skills. Success will go to those who can learn fast, pivot, and have the resiliency to keep moving forward. In the truest way, adaptability will be your greatest ability. Worst TED Talk ever. There is good news, though. There's a way to make this work for you. What you will see is that there will be no longer a need for companies to hire armies of specialists. These special niche market things, marketing, HR, the different little departments will become agents and different tools and apps. So what you'll be looking for is the rise of the generalist. This is the person who will be able to orchestrate all of the agents, to move them around, to recognize the good problems, and then to sort those problems among the tools and the activities that we have available to us. You see, the specialist will get replaced, but the generalist will be the one directing all of them. So what do you need to do to become this generalist, to be indispensable to these companies? We need to focus on 3 things. First, you need to learn to talk to your AI. Then you need to start using your AI as a thought partner. And lastly, you need to learn the tools. So when I'm talking about talking to your AI, the average person speaks 130 words per minute and can type about 40 words per minute. My daughters can probably talk 12 times faster than any human being could ever type. But when I'm talking to you about this, it's not the fact that you can speak data in faster. It's that when you're speaking, you're using your natural communication method. You see, you learned to talk long before you learned how to type. And speech is now the language of AI. So I come from construction, and we need to get daily reports from our crews. And sometimes English is not their native language. So the text reports I would get from them would be like, we showed up, we did some stuff, we're gone. That doesn't help me run a company. When we shifted to voice mode, what it allowed them to do was in their native tongue, they could give a running dialogue of everything that had happened that day. Deep information. And then the AI could translate it, transcribe it, summarize it, and then send it out to our team. It ends up being the difference in the amount of information I get from a phone call with my daughter versus that forehead Snapchat thing my son sends me. I don't know what that is. You see, to AI, we don't look like people. We're nothing but context, a data cloud. So when you start talking to AI, that's your prompt. But the prompt is what tells it what you want it to do. Context is the field in which they operate in. Context is what allows commands to become collaboration. So when you speak into it, not only can you do it faster, that's great, but you can do more of it. The more data you give it, the more specific it can be, the better its image of you is, the more helpful it can become. And when you start to do this, you really start to talk and reach into the power of AI. Like if you wanted to send a thank you note to one of your professors, I know nobody would do that. But if you did, you would just say, send a thank you note, and a generic thank you note would come out. If instead you said, this is the professor that stayed late with me 3 times this semester, and they worked with me on calculus and finally made it click. And then I realized not only could I do calculus, but I could continue on the career path that I wanted to have, and I could do this. And this is the professor that sparked that in my mind. Send that note. With that sudden influx of context, the AI can write a very heartfelt, very personal letter, but it is still your letter. It is your thoughts, just better articulated. So when I'm talking about using AI as a thought partner, this to me is the biggest shift you need to make. It's the difference between saying I've got Google with a chatbot and I've got a working partner that's helping me. I've got access to every mentor, every coach, all of the historical figures at 24/7, infinitely patient and ready to help me. So when I have AI, you want to use it as a co-pilot. But keep in mind, this is not the pilot. You are in control. AI will help you make better decisions, but it is not the decision maker, and it cannot replace your judgment, but it can give you lots of information around it. Like if you were going to use AI to help you prep for a job interview, which hopefully a lot of you are going to be doing, then you would go in and you'd say, hey, what kind of questions would I be looking for coming into a job interview? And you're going to get some generic questions. But instead, if you fed into the AI and you said, here's the website of the company I'm applying for, here are the officers that I know that are there, here's the job description I'm applying for, here is my resume, here's everything that I did in college. Can you act as an HR manager and interview me one-on-one, challenge my questions, help me develop better, sharper answers? And what you will end up with is one of the greatest interview prep partners you could ever imagine, who has infinite patience for you to work through the problems. You see, the people that will thrive in this new environment, they will not be the people that have the best answers. They will be the people who know how to ask the best questions. Now, most people just dabble in AI. You know, they got the chat GPT, they ask a question, they get a couple of remarks, and they're excited. They got one app that they use a lot, you know, maybe it checks their grammar or something. And they're like, yeah, I use AI, that's great. That's not the real advantage. The real advantage in AI comes when you aggressively and proactively explore and try to find the new apps and the new tools and the new agents and everything that brings you. You want a broad spectrum. You cannot go into battle with one arrow in your quiver. You need a full Swiss Army knife of an infinite number of tools so that you can then build that tool set. And you want to be able to demonstrate that tool set to the people you're applying for jobs with, because it means you're ready. It means that you know what you're going to go into. And this toolkit, as it grows, so grows your value. And that's what you want to do. So once you're doing these things, you're building out that orchestra, all of the instruments are there, you're conversing with the AI, you're collaborating with it, you're now orchestrating intelligence. You know how to direct it. You see, AI will always be the smartest person in the room from this point forward. That job is now taken. But what you want to do is be the one that can focus its power. It has all of this knowledge, but it doesn't know what to work on. And in every industry, in every field, people are going to be needed that know how to direct AI into the right problems. Whether it's sports or medicine or business. You see, AI is the wave. You are the surfer, and your job is to steer the board. All across human history, for the entire time, it has been about how fast we could build things. Could we build a tool? Could we build a fire? Could we build a factory? How fast can we get it? That's no longer the case. You see, AI has sped things up so fast that now this is the age of ideas. Whatever you want to build, you can build it. See, AI is leverage, but leverage only works when you have something to multiply or pry against. I mean, 0 times infinity is still 0. AI can do things now that used to take months or even years. And because of this, I think there's been no better time in history for you to launch your own company or to launch your own career. No generation has ever had this degree of access to this depth of knowledge readily available at any given moment. AI has commoditized raw thinking power, the horsepower of knowledge. But your value will be the spark that you bring in. It will be the ignition to the fuel that AI is. If you bring your acorn, your seed, and you pair it with AI, you can turn that into a grand oak tree overnight. So what I hope you got out of this is that, yes, the AI wave is here. It is real, and it is massive. So you have 2 choices, just like any surfer in the water. You can see the wave coming. You can put your hands in the water, enjoy the view as it raises you, and then lowers you down again as it passes you by. Or you can see it, you can turn your board, and you can put in the effort, and you can paddle like all power. And then you can rise up and catch this wave and ride it into the future. So the question is, what are you going to do? I would paddle.
You feel a little bit better equipped now, right? I told you, I'll tell you what, the first half I was terrified. He was right, worst TED Talk ever. It's just really digging into all my deep, dark fears. And I was thinking, you know, what else can I pivot? Maybe I just drop out of Clemson and do something else. And he brought up American Ninja Warrior. I was maybe I do that. You'll see me on the weekends climbing up the warped wall, doing all the things. But then the latter half really made me a little more excited. And I'll tell you what, I've been actually trying to talk to AI after I heard this, and it's really is helpful. I'm similar to Mr. Gill's daughters in the sense that when I get excited about something, I just keep going. But an AI can handle it. It just keeps it going. Most people will be like, "Whoa, shut up!" But AI can handle it. So if you haven't tried that, I can't emphasize enough that it really is. It'll change your life. And also to Mr. Gill, the forehead Snapchat from your son, that means he loves you. I don't know where he is, but that comes from right here. Our next speaker has definitely ridden a few waves in her day. I don't even want to give anything away from this next speaker. She has a 43-year career as a federally certified English to Spanish interpreter. But if you ask me, she doesn't look a day over 43. But I'll let her tell you about her degree. It's just wonderful story. If you're not ready to be inspired, then you should just walk out right now because you guys are in for a treat. Please welcome to the stage Dr. Janice Palma.
Thank you. When I was about 9 years old, I lived in a house that had bars in front, and I used those bars to climb up on the roof. Of course, when nobody was watching, except maybe my little sister. But one day I was up on the roof, and my mother came out and she saw me. And she goes, Muchachita, bájate de ahí. Get down from there. What are you doing? Why? Because you're a girl. And that was the reason they gave me for everything that I could not do, because I was a girl. I was not allowed to play with boys. I was not allowed to even look at boys in my all-girls school when they would come and pick up their sisters. So you can imagine when my parents decided to move and they put me and my sister in a co-ed school, oh boy, those boys were a real mystery to me. But then at the end of the year, we were going to have awards. I had never had awards, so I was really excited. I even told my parents, you know what? I think I'm going to get the math award. So the day comes, and we're waiting there for everybody to get their awards. They're calling out names, the award for the best science project, the award for Spanish, the award for math. And I'm sitting there on the edge of my seat. I'm waiting to hear my name. I'm so excited. And when they call out the name, it wasn't my name. It wasn't me. It was some boy in my class. I'm going to call him Joe. So I look at Joe, walk up to the stage, take his award, turn around, smile at everybody, and I was so mad. I told my parents when we got home, it's not fair. My mom, well, honey, maybe you'll get it next year. I don't want it next year. I want it this year. And my dad, don't feel bad. You know, girls are not supposed to be smarter than boys. I could not wrap my head around that. You mean to tell me that I have to give up my award so that some boy doesn't feel bad because there's a girl who's smarter than he is? I suppose back then, girls just had to look pretty and be dumb. But I was not pretty, and I definitely was not dumb. But after that, we went back to the city where we had been before. Our parents did not put us back in the all-girls school. They put us in the co-ed school again. And that's where I was supposed to finish high school. And after high school, I wanted to go to college. But the group that I started to hang out with, they were not too interested in school. They were more interested in cutting class, going to the beach, going to the river. And I would go out with them, but I was really scared. I was afraid that we'd get caught and get kicked out of school. Well, I did get kicked out of school, but not because I was cutting class. It was because I was pregnant. And I was terrified. I could not understand what was happening. Everything was upside down. I had to leave school, but the boy, another Joe, he got to stay. Now, do you think I was going to let that hold me back? My mother's sister helped me figure out how to get my high school equivalency diploma. And then I figured out how to apply to the university and get accepted. But I didn't tell anybody until the fall semester started, because I didn't want anybody telling me, oh no, you can't go to school. You're married now and you have a baby. I was 17 when I got married and had my baby. I was 18 when I got divorced. Later, I got married again, got divorced again, married, divorced. And in the end, I figured I'd be better off just getting a dog. Believe me, I did not call him Joe. The fact is that there were no straight lines in my life. My life was very messy, very unpredictable. And I really envied those girls that had like their 5-year plans, their 10-year plans. And for me, the only constant thing was being confused, doing all the wrong things, being by myself, and having to work. So even though I did get my BA, got a BA in Spanish literature, I was not able to continue and get my master's and my PhD. So one day I was looking at the newspaper and I saw an ad. It said, looking for people with degrees in foreign languages. I said, I have a degree in foreign languages. And they were going to pay $12 an hour. That was more than twice what I was making at the time. So I called, made an appointment, went for an interview, and they said, yes, we're going to train you. That was going to be 3 weeks of training with no pay. But in the end, I became an interpreter. And it was one of the best things that could have happened to me because I loved being an interpreter. It's a profession in which you're learning all the time. I became a federally certified interpreter, and I even became an expert in my field. When I became federally certified, I started to make a whole lot more money, which allowed me to take a break at one point and go back to school and get my master's. But then after that, I had to wait another 25 years before I could even think about getting my PhD. What do you think about when you think about retiring? Do you think, oh, when I retire, I'm going to travel the world? Or when I retire, I'm going to play golf every day? Or I'm going to go fishing every day? Well, for me, it was when I retire, I want to go back to school. The day after I retired, I moved to Texas to be with my daughter. She had just had her first baby. And that's where I wanted to be. But I figured, as long as I'm here, might as well find out what programs are out there at the local universities. And there was a program at the University of Texas that I liked. I found it interesting, so I sent in my application. And a few weeks later, some Joe sent me a letter saying, we regret to inform you, strike one. But do you think I let that hold me back? No, sir. I found a research collaborative and I joined them. And out of that research collaborative, I was able to go to Valencia, Spain to present my research. And then it got published in a peer-reviewed law journal. And then came COVID. You know, one of the good things that came with COVID that very few people think about? Universities started to offer all kinds of online degrees because people couldn't go to the classroom. They were offering all these advanced degrees online. And I thought, wow, this is wonderful. I started to look. Most of them were like in education. I wasn't interested in that. Others required like a summer residency. I didn't want to do that. And I found one that I really liked. I sent in my application. I waited. And a few weeks later, I got this email to inform you. Strike two. Now, was I going to let that hold me back? No. The thing is, I was talking to a friend and I was telling her how hard it was. I thought it was going to be easier to find a degree program and start studying. She said, have you heard about this law degree for non-lawyers? I thought, I have not. Let me look into it. And I did, and I loved it. And it was not a PhD program, it was a master's, but I was so eager to get back in school. I said, what do I have to lose? I've been rejected twice already. The application was free. What the heck? I sent in my application, and lo and behold, I got admitted. It was a conditional admission, but I didn't care. I was admitted. Now I had to think, okay, how am I going to pay for this? Let's see. I'm a non-traditional student. I'm a woman. I'm Hispanic. I'm Puerto Rican. There has to be something out there, some financial assistance or some program for someone like me, right? Wrong. There was nothing. I couldn't find anything for someone like me. Would you believe that there are hardly any statistics about women over 60 going back to graduate school? Yeah, I'm sure you believe it. Because we're invisible. We're not statistically significant. In fact, most of the statistics show all women going back to school at a later age as one group, women over 40. Women over 40. What happened to 50, 60, 70? Well, no wonder there's no financial aid for us. But I had already committed to the program. I was going to go through with it, and I did. And on commencement day, I went to graduation, and I thought, for sure, I am going to be the oldest student here. Well, I wasn't. There was one other student who was older than me and was a woman. So with my degree, I went back to Clemson, and I told the program director, I have a master's degree in legal studies now with a 4-point average. You can see that I'm very serious about my studies. Will you reconsider my application? And the director said, well, you're going to have to resubmit everything again. I said, okay, I will resubmit everything again. And a few weeks later, I get the answer. You have been admitted. I was in. So now I am a PhD student at Clemson in the Rhetorics, Communication, and Information Design program. I turned 70 last November. I will probably be 75, 76 by the time I graduate, but I don't care. I am in my happy place. And sometimes when I tell my fellow students how old I am, you should see their faces. They go like, what? But then I see their smiles, and I see like this special glow that starts to come out, because I think they're realizing there are other possibilities in life. Life doesn't end at 40 or 50 or 60 or 70. There's new horizons that they hadn't even thought about before. And some of them tell me that I have inspired them, for which I'm glad, even though I never set out to inspire anybody, except maybe be a good role model for my grandkids. But with my story, I do hope that I have inspired you not to let anybody or anything hold you back, not even yourselves. Trust me, it's going to be worth it. It doesn't matter how much time goes by. It doesn't matter how many obstacles you encounter. It's going to be worth it. Just don't let anybody hold you back, ever. Gracias.
Doesn't that just make you want to just do some push-ups or something, just conquer the day? It's just, yeah, it's just stuff like that that just gets me excited. I was telling her, I hope I have a class with her next semester. Just all that 70 years of wisdom. If we're taking a test, I'd definitely be doing one of these, because she's far smarter than I will ever be. And it's nice to hear that you can just, like, verbatim, she said, I was just confused and doing all the wrong things. And it's good to know that there's a light at the end of that confused and doing all the wrong things tunnel. And also the regret to inform you, just sentence, like, that makes my blood boil just hearing those words. It's 4 saddest words in the English language. But building off of the theme of an unconventional path, our next speaker had one, to say the least. And again, it's just enriching to hear these people's stories and how they ended up where they are today. Our next speaker spent 9 years in the Navy nuclear power program, and he's a director of operations of over 3,000 employees. So I don't know if you can have a PhD in leadership, but I feel like he's gathered one just from being around. Your next speaker, give a warm round of applause for Mr. Jimmy Vickery.
Oh man, what am I doing here? Never thought I would be here. but I'm not a person that spends a lot of time thinking about what's next. So my talk is for those of you out there that don't have a plan. I want to tell you that it is possible to be successful even if you don't have a dream. I spent the majority of my career making adult diapers, and let's be honest, no one dreams of doing that. So, as a kid, I developed a lot of bad habits. It started in 5th grade when I was introduced to a gateway drug. You've probably heard of it, Gatus. So, gifted and talented, something, something. I don't know what the last 2 letters are for, which is part of the problem. But in 5th grade Gatus, we were allowed to leave campus on Wednesdays. And so we would leave and go to this off-site location, and we would do gifted and talented things. And what I learned from that was that I didn't need to do my homework on Tuesday nights. Now, I travel from there, and now I'm going into the 6th grade, and for some reason, I wasn't selected for Gatus in the 6th grade. That was odd. But I did carry that practice on of not doing my homework. I had actually expanded it now where it's no longer just Tuesday nights. We're going for all the other nights as well. And that led to a mid-year report card where I had 4 Fs that year. So a parent-teacher conference was scheduled pretty quickly, and I have 2 distinct memories from that day. The first is we were going to recess, and as I'm exiting the classroom door, just to the left of the door, I see my father. My single-parent father, who also works night shift. To say that the look he gave me was terror-inducing would be the understatement of the century. The other memory I have is after recess, we're returning to the room, and you've got the hustle and bustle of 20 or 30 kids returning to their desks. It's noisy, and just as the room starts to quiet down, Miss Ebo, my teacher, with a dramatic turn, says, "Oh, Jimmy." "Yes, ma'am." "Your daddy said to tell you you were going to get it when you got home." So I learned where the line was that day. Not doing my homework and passing, completely acceptable. Getting 4 Fs and not passing, as my father so eloquently described to me that afternoon, not acceptable. And so that's the line that I used to manage the entire rest of my scholastic career. I did just enough to pass every single year. So now I'm 17 and I'm rapidly approaching graduation, and we've established that I don't have a plan. So what am I going to do? So like most people who end up in that situation, I find myself going to the Armed Services Recruiting Center. And I thought, I'm going to change. I want to be adventurous. I'm going to jump out of planes. I want to ride in helicopters. I want to shoot the big guns. And unfortunately, that day, there was no plane jumping people there, and I wound up talking to the U.S. Navy recruiter. And he asked me what classes I was taking, so I shared that I was taking calculus and physics and chemistry, and luckily he didn't ask my GPA for those classes, but he said, I think the Navy nuclear power program is a good fit for you. The main thing he started promoting was that there was a $4,000 enlistment bonus, at which point I just said, just shut up, you had me at hello. So I go to Navy boot camp, which the main objective seems to be how small can you fold your clothes, is what you learn there. But after that, it was about 18 months of rigorous classroom where you're learning everything about a nuclear reactor. And I learned that the Navy has a line too. Now in the Navy, you can give that bare minimum, but the military controls your entire life. So you're going to get that same output from the military. You're going to get bare minimum sleep. You're going to get bare minimum time off. You're going to get bare minimum pay. And those were all things that I really wanted. So I changed. I actually became a good student for the first time ever. And I started getting good grades. I started being at the top of my class. And from there, I went to a nuclear submarine. And nuclear submarines are unique in the military because most military branches, what matters most is what's on your sleeve. What rank are you? When you're on a submarine, what I discovered that mattered most was how knowledgeable are you? Can you do your job well? Are you able to perform under pressure? And so I changed again. I wanted to be the top guy on that submarine. So I threw myself into trying to learn as much as I possibly could. As the intro said, after about 9 years, now I'm getting ready to exit the military. And I don't want to spoil the plot, but I had no plan on what I was going to do next. But I'm 27 years old, and I need a job. So I end up coming back to South Carolina, and I get a job as a supervisor in a manufacturing facility. Now I've got to take all of that lessons that I've learned in the military, and how can I apply those to this civilian world and still be successful? So I've been there 28 years now, and I've probably been promoted once every 4 years or so. And so I'll have people come to me and they'll say, hey, Jimmy, how do you get promoted in this company? What's the secret to getting to where you are in the organization? And I share with them that I think you're asking the wrong questions or you're going about it the wrong way. It's not a secret treasure map where if you do items A, B, and C, you're going to magically find the pot of gold at the end of that rainbow. When I reflect back, I tell them that the majority of my success has been my willingness to admit that I have faults and then working on those weaknesses to strengthen them. The first example of that really happened when I was a supervisor and I was going to be promoted to being a manager, and they have you take a personality test so that they can identify your strengths and your weaknesses. As we were reviewing my results, they shared that I had scored in the second percentile in social skills. And I thought, well, this is great. I scored in the top 2% of everybody that's ever taken this exam. And they kind of paused and they were like, well, no. It's actually the other way. And I thought that can't be right. I don't have problems in a social setting. You know, I have teammates that I work well with. I do fine in that area. And so they explained to me that, no, this isn't measuring your ability to function socially. It's measuring your need for that social interaction. So in layman's terms, that means that I was a prime candidate for one of those supermax prisons. You know, you by yourself, 23 hours a day, all alone. Yeah, that's me. Well, that was important feedback for me to get if I was going to be managing people. I needed to strengthen that weakness of mine because the people that worked for me, they were going to need that social interaction. Apparently, 98% of them need that social interaction. So it wasn't going to be easy or natural for me to be able to do that. So I had to create systems to improve that weakness. I created databases with pictures and first names so that if I saw people out in my workspace, I could call them by their first name. I had sheets with daily birthdays on it that I would carry with me. I have text message reminders to this day to remind me to text people if there's important events going on in their life. So, what I hope you're hearing is that we should try and bloom where we are planted, right? That's a pretty famous slogan that we hear sometimes in Clemson. If you're in your workspace and somebody has feedback for you, listen to them. Don't run away from that weakness. Try and run toward it. So if you're out there today and you don't have a plan, that's okay. If you try and focus on being great in the role that you're in today, maybe like me, maybe your plan will find you. Thank you.
Maybe your plan finds you. I like that a lot. And it's a recurring theme, just not having it all figured out and just finding your lane. It's just, again, inspirational, to say the least. And that was our final speaker for the session 1. And again, just 2 more sessions of excellence to come. But in the meantime, these are some of my favorite people on Clemson's campus. We have a improv group coming to perform for you guys, which I thought, until I saw them last year at this event, I thought that was only in the movies. I didn't realize people really do improv, but they do it and they nail it, and it's hilarious. Guys, if you're not ready to laugh, if you have to go to the bathroom, I recommend you go now because you're gonna come back and you're gonna be peeing yourselves laughing. Get ready and give a warm round of applause to Clemson's best and only improv group, Mock Turtle Soup. In a few minutes, you will see Mock Turtle Soup. I'm here to kill some time. It's just, like honestly, just as I just think it's so perfect that the theme is Waves of Transformation, because I was telling my parents about this and about what the theme is, whatever, and I was just like, I just feel bad for everyone that's not in college watching this, because it's like, haven't you already transformed? Haven't you done all the transformations already? But apparently, so I've been told, this whole theme of changing lasts your entire life, which is pretty exciting if you ask a guy like me. And I don't know, it's the combination of Mr. Vickery telling me about how I don't have to have it all figured out, and then Mr. Gill telling me that AI is going to be a good way to help me figure it out. It's just, that intersection is just making me fully equipped to go and attack the real world, which is exciting. Hey, Nara. I love changing it up. That's one of my favorite things to do in the whole wide world.
Okay. As we wait for Mock Turtle Soup, I'm going to tell them a little bit about the break in session.
Do it.
If you could change it to the program, we can kind of show a little bit about what we're doing at the break. Also, so sorry to take it up on you. At break, we are going to get food, coffee, networking in the Watt atrium. So telling you a little bit about that. This Strong Institute is the building where we keep a lot of historical things. So we can't eat in the auditorium. The auditorium doesn't necessarily have anything historical in it, but still really important to follow all the rules. I will get in trouble if you do not follow them, so I'm making you all follow them. Watt is just upstairs. We can take the elevator, or you can go around the outside up the stairs, and it's a really, really pretty building with a lot of glass, straight back beside the library, I guess, just to the side of the lawn. There's going to be coffee there, pastries, fruit, a bunch of stuff there. I think students were encouraged to bring their resumes, so if you did, great. If you didn't, also no problem. A career fair just happened. I myself have no copies of my own resume, so it'll be okay. Did you bring any?
I did not get around to it, unfortunately.
It happened. We did.
Yeah, what are you going to do? MTS is ready to roll.
Okay, you can keep going.
I'm going to keep going. All right, now, give a warm Clemson round of applause to Mock Turtle Soup, everybody. Go.
Good afternoon. We are Clemson University's Mock Turtle Soup. We are Clemson's one and only improv comedy troupe. So that's exciting. We're going to have some very interesting games for you today. We're kind of like the comic relief after wonderful performed TED Talks. So that should be fun. If you don't know what improv is, it's basically we make things up on the spot. We take your suggestions and we make scenes out of them. So first of all, I would like to welcome Hannah, Clay, Ellie, Caitlin, and Madison. Give a warm round of applause for our wonderful improvisers. Oh, yeah, and then I'm Thomas, by the way. Nice to meet you. If you don't know how improv works, we're going to practice getting suggestions. So basically, I'm going to kind of divide this into thirds. So this third, and this third. And whenever I reference to y'all, you're going to shout out whatever's on your mind. So this side, if I can get a suggestion of a location. Beautiful. That was wonderful. All right, this side, if I can get an object. Perfect. Yeah, it was made to be. All right, and then this side, if I could get an occupation. Perfect. Okay, yeah, y'all are pros. Y'all are pros. So we are going to start with our first game. It's going to be called Ding. So it is for y'all two, actually. So y'all just scuttle, you know? Okay, so if you don't know how Ding works, it is going to be a two-person scene between these lovely improvisers, and whenever I say new choice, they're going to have to change the last thing that they said. So I have a lot of power in this scene. So just for anywhere, can I get a suggestion of a location? Memorial Stadium. And if you don't know, the way that we start our scenes is this wonderful thing called the mock turtle pump. You raise your hand in the air, and I say mock turtle soup. I promise it is fun to do. So if I could just get everyone to raise their hand, mock turtle soup. Perfect practice. And your suggestion is Memorial Stadium. Mock turtle soup.
You ready for the big game day? You know, on Saturday?
I would hope so. I've been clipping this turf all by myself. They give me the whole length of the football field
Oh,
to
the
do.
whole thing?
Yeah, with just these.
Do you do this every week?
Every week, every day.
Ding.
This is part-time.
Oh. Okay, so like you split it with someone, so like it's not as a big deal as you were making it out to be.
It's a big deal to me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Is my
Sorry,
feelings
I'm sorry.
invalid?
No, your feelings are valid. I just,
I'm the one with the gardening tools here.
yeah. I feel like it's kind of not great to only use clippers. Why don't they give you like a lawnmower or anything? You know?
You think you can bring a lawnmower into Memorial Stadium?
Yeah.
Ding.
Oh, I did.
No. What are you, crazy? I mean, they don't bring anything in here. The only thing they brought in was like a pile of dirt for when the Savannah Bananas came, but like that's not. They haven't really done
Yeah,
anything
when the
else with
Savannah
it.
Bananas came, who do you think polished all the baseballs? I was in there all day, polishing balls. Do you know what that does to a man? What do you do? What is your job? You just come here and heckle me?
Yeah, I'm a professional heckler. I'm here at the game. I'm here before the game. You know, I just yell. I like heckling.
You like the...
I get paid $22 an hour.
Ding.
I get paid $8 an hour.
Ding.
I don't get paid.
So you just do it for the love of the game?
I do it for the thrill.
Last time it was the mascot. When the mascot would come here, he would laugh at me all day. And now it's you. You're not much better. At least he was like in a funny costume when he did it. I just have to stare at your ugly face.
Ding.
At least he was in a costume. I just have to stare at your beautiful face.
Thanks.
You're welcome. I'm sorry. You're just better than me. I am.
I mean, I guess so. I'm not the one clipping, you know, the turf with, you know, a pair of scissors, basically.
I have to paint on the lines now.
You're painting the line. You're hand painting the line. Didn't they make a machine for this? It's like it's the 21st century.
I like it old-fashioned. It's you put tender love and care.
So you're in a situation of your own making.
Are we not all in situations of our own making?
And scene. That brought a tear to my eye. I'm so sorry. So next up, we have a game called Ebert and Sullivan. For the other people hiding in the wings, if I could have y'all out. So if you don't know how Ebert and Sullivan works, it is going to be a podcast. More specifically, a video cast. And it's going to be something for people that don't... It's for a movie that doesn't actually exist, and they're just going to be reviewing it. So, for this, who's the host? Yeah, so our wonderful hosts are Madison and Caitlin, and Ellie and Clay are going to be acting out however they describe the movie. So, can I get a movie genre? Sci-fi. That's perfect. All right. So, your suggestion is sci-fi. Good luck. Mock Turtle Soup.
Hello and welcome to our podcast. We're so excited that you could tune in today, Tuesdays, 3:30. We know how you guys are, probably on your drive home. I'm Billy.
And I am Emily.
Billy and Emily, we're here today with another movie review for you. Movie review for you. Movie review for you.
And you.
And you. Patent pending, guys. Patent pending. So today we are going to be diving into a little bit of sci-fi, a little bit of aliens, a little bit of, what else?
I don't want to spoil anything for you guys.
I like the way you think. Now, this first movie that I picked out, it is truly insane. It takes place on Mars, which is crazy how they even got the set for Mars. It's literally insane. Everything is red and it's hot, and so there's a lot of sweating in the movie.
Yeah.
It's really crazy. But the plot of this movie, it's like no other. There's an alien, but it's not like your typical like green alien. He's like from Mars, so he's like also red, and he's got this huge like crown on.
Yeah, it's just like, it's crazy. It's like King of Mars, which, funny enough, is also the name of the movie.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's epic. Well, with this movie, the astronaut goes to study Mars, steps off, sees this crown alien, and it gets truly insane. The way that they talk and communicate is so weird. So I'm just gonna go ahead and skip to when the astronaut gets off the spaceship. Let's see that right now. Bing.
Wow. It's even better than I dreamed it. Oh, but hot. My God.
Good day to ya.
Oh my God.
How you doing?
Oh my God. They didn't tell me there'd be. Oh my God. You're red.
We all red. What's wrong with you?
Sorry. Hold on. Wait. I'm gonna need a minute.
You got a problem with the way I look?
Well.
You fleshy, peach-colored little whatever you are? You ain't even got 3 arms. I got a third one, like right here.
Pause. And this was really astounding because you would have never expected the alien to be talking in an Australian accent.
Right.
But that is because that's just how it's dubbed. You don't understand what the alien's actually saying.
Oh, we got the dubbed version.
Yeah.
Oh.
But I think my favorite part comes later when the crowned alien reveals that the crown is just a sham and the astronaut is the true King of Mars.
No way. We
Yeah.
should skip to that.
Yeah.
Now,
Get this crown off your head. Take it from you.
I used
What
to
is
be
this?
somebody.
This isn't even real.
It's paper. Paper mache.
You're a phony, King.
I've always been a phony. I saw a ship coming. I was like, hey, oh, look at that. This is one of the visitors. And I was like, hey, maybe I could be somebody.
You know, just when I was starting to like you, too. This planet deserves a real king. Someone with a heart of gold.
Oh, and you have a heart of gold, huh?
Well,
You made fun of me and you have a heart of gold.
that's why they sent me here.
Pause. I really want to skip to when the human here like becomes king of Mars and they give their first speech to the aliens.
That sounds great.
Bing bing.
Hello, fellow Martians. Stand here before you today to accept this crown. Crown me. I will be a good king.
Right.
I will have you all do my bidding. I actually don't care much about you, but I'm excited for this position. It's going to be very comfortable for me. Quite a step up from astronaut number 2. So, well, congrats to me.
Buzz, And I think that was a great showcase of this first movie.
That movie, 10 out of 10. Love that one. That one's actually probably my favorite.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite?
I do have a favorite.
Oh, tell me about it.
It's kind of like a really indie film. It's called Aliens versus Dolphins. It's about like an alien invasion, but they kind of subvert your expectations because you think it would be people who like solve the problems, but no. The dolphins, they all come together and I think I'm just going to show you when the dolphins are like planning the response so you can really see just how it's just beautiful.
Okay.
Play.
Boss! The aliens are attacking the waters! They're sending their lasers into us!
The aliens? Oh no.
They've already killed Seashell and Kelp!
No, not
Sliced them straight in half with their lasers!
They were getting married next week.
I know, it was incredibly graphic.
Oh.
What should we do, boss?
We gotta send in the crabs.
The crabs?
We're sending in the crabs.
Okay, boss.
I hate to do it to them. We gotta strap all the explosives to every single crab.
All right.
And just throw a bunch of crabs at them. That's all we have.
All right, Aquamarine, start manning the crabs.
Manning the crabs.
Come on, round them
Load
up,
up the
round them up.
whales.
The whales? What are we using the whales for?
Transport.
Oh, right, of course. All right, load them up.
Beast of burden, you know how it is.
And how are the whales gonna get out of the water to get to the aliens?
We got like a bunch of flying fish, just as many flying fish as we possibly
Perfect,
can.
perfect,
and they're
perfect.
all gonna jump at the same time.
Oh, you gotta come quick! Here come the lasers!
No.
No, boss, no! Oh.
And pause. That was honestly the saddest part of the whole film.
Yeah, that was really graphic.
Yeah, I probably should have cut it 30 seconds ago.
That was scary. So now he's dead. The dolphin's dead, right? So how do the aliens versus dolphins? How does it work now?
His second in command has to take over, and you can see later on in the movie, he just goes fin to fin with the aliens.
No way.
It's truly great, and then you can see Dolphin just pummels him.
Oh, I can't
It's a
wait to see this
beatdown.
fight scene. This is gonna be epic.
I'll skip to that part.
Okay.
Clay.
Father. No.
Yeah, that's what you get. You killed my boss. An enemy was my friend. You killed him. So take this.
Oh.
Yeah.
hurt. Oh.
Taste that salt.
Oh.
It's blood and salt water.
I didn't even know flippers could hurt though.
Pause. Okay, I'm getting really bored of this. I really just want to see the victory reign, who wins. I'm just so eager.
Oh. I don't know why you're punching me. We're
You lost, aliens.
Oh, pause. So the dolphins won?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. Well, awesome. I think that concludes our set. Those two movies
Yeah.
were awesome.
Yeah, they truly were great. So we will see you next week.
That's right. Peace out.
And scene. Yeah. We'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.
I go back after and tell people refreshments. And ours kind of. Good job, team.
We are not going to start early. There are people online on the live stream waiting for speakers to start on time. So everyone's just going to head over there, all going to have coffee, if you choose to have coffee. I probably need a water. Everyone will just come back all together. We'll kind of queue everyone in and out throughout the rest of the day. If it's raining, we'll figure that out as we go. But for now, I guess get moving. Yes, I have a question. Oh yes, little note. There's a suggestion, not suggestion, but a comment, little review thingy at the front of the tables that you can write words of encouragement or nice things to each speaker. Each popcorn box has their name on it, so just say something nice if you choose to. Don't be mean. But yes, use them. Thanks.
Hello, hello, hello. What'd you guys think of that first session? All right, come on, you can do better than that. What was that first session like? There you go. Give one more round of applause for the speakers. Did they do well? Yeah, it was good. Okay, we've got another round back here ready to go. Are you guys ready to go? Okay. Hey, come on. There we go. That's better. That's better. So we've been collecting some of the biggest challenges we have here at Clemson. The next session, you guys are going to help me solve the biggest problem we have here at Clemson. You guys good with that? What? Okay. So be prepared for that. We're going to use what's called the Pareto principle. You guys know what the Pareto principle is? It says 20% of your problems, 20% of your causes cause 80% of your problems. So if we figure out those 20% that you guys have identified, we can make Clemson 80% better. Again, I can't do much about the football team. You guys ready for that? Okay, so that's what we're going to do next time around. We're going to look and see what's up there at the top of the Pareto, and we're going to fix it. You ready for that? Okay, but before we do that, are you ready for some more speakers? What was that? Okay, are my speakers ready? Okay, before the speakers, we have someone that's going to introduce the speakers because that's not my job. You guys ready? Let's go.
It is my job. Hi, everybody, again. Hi. How was everyone's sweet treats? Delicious? That's awesome to hear. Glad to hear it. Tell you what, I like to think I'm a pretty disciplined guy, but when there's sweet treats in front of me, just forget about it. I'm all over them. I'll give a TED talk at the end about sweet treats. How's that sound? I'll go all night. But on the note of discipline, I think our next speaker embodies that through and through, but I think in a slightly different way than you might have initially thought of with the idea and concept of discipline. Our next speaker has really done it all. She is a former Georgetown graduate, where she played D1 lacrosse, and then launched the With Intention podcast, where she's the lead host, and now she's pursuing her master's at Georgetown. Ladies and gentlemen, give a warm round of applause for the first speaker of the second session, Hannah Falau.
Thank you. My lacrosse teammates said they could hear it from the 50-yard line. Pop! That was the sound of me tearing my ACL. I wasn't thinking about how my college athletic career just took a sharp turn, or even the amount of throbbing pain I was in. Instead, I turned to my coach and said, "This wasn't supposed to happen. I don't have time for this." As if I had a choice. But seriously, look at my calendar. Where did I have time for surgery, rehab, and post-op appointments? The standard recovery time for an ACL is 9 months. I assumed that since my doctor said it would be 9 months, that my knee would listen to the doctor. Yeah, that's not how recovery works, Hannah. I became obsessed with hitting every post-op goal on the correct timeline. And when I didn't, I felt like an utter failure. I thought that I had to do more to recover, when all I needed to do was less. A couple days after surgery, you could visibly see my right quad muscles dissipate. I asked my physical therapist if this was normal. He said that this was a result of my old muscles breaking down, so I could build them back up. I didn't know it yet, but this would serve as an analogy for how I needed to break down my obsession with hustling and busyness and replace it with healthier habits and boundaries. I'm Hannah, a type A oldest daughter and self-appointed parent to my 2 younger siblings. I plan my days out to the minute, color-coded, of course. I make plans 4 weeks in advance. I have my own podcast, I mean, I'm literally giving a TEDx talk right now. You could say I was born to hustle. And to some degree, I was. But to some degree, it was instilled in me from my environment. My environment being America. Ventani defines hustle culture as pushing individuals to work continuously, often sacrificing their health and social life. This concept stems from the belief that success can only be achieved through relentless dedication to work. Think back to your 8-year-old self. What did you want to be when you grew up? I wanted to be a dolphin trainer, but at no point in my childhood was I dreaming of 80-hour work weeks and chronic burnout. So, what makes a 24-year-old girl with 2 years of actual work experience qualified to be talking about the harms of hustle culture? The thing is, I am the exact type of person that hustle culture feeds on. My freshman year of high school, I verbally committed to Georgetown University for lacrosse. I took every AP, played a sport every season, and was on student government every year in high school. In college, I committed 40+ hours a week to lacrosse, was enrolled in 5 academic classes on the pre-med track. I worked a part-time job, and somewhere in there, I ate, slept, and had a social life. I graduated college in May of 2023. By July, I had started my first 9-to-5, and in August, I started graduate classes. I am the poster child for hustle culture. The lifestyle that preaches doing anything to reach your professional goals, often at the expense of your physical, mental, and emotional well-being. And this lifestyle really worked for me. Until it didn't. My thoughts became senseless. My chest grew tight and my breath short. People sounded muffled, and I felt like I was moving in slow motion. I was having my first panic attack. I started having panic attacks my junior year of college. My anxiety was stemming from the constant pressure to do or produce. Ironically, I was resistant to therapy at first because I thought I didn't have time for it. I'd run myself through these cycles of never feeling like I was doing or producing enough. So I'd stack my schedule, and then I'd get so overwhelmed with all that I had to do that eventually I'd have another panic attack or grow extremely burnt out. My mom has always said that I have 2 speeds, sprinting and sleeping. So why couldn't I find a middle speed? I began to realize that I was very attached to having a jam-packed calendar. I found myself thinking it was just as important to be productive after my 9-to-5 as much as it was during. You see that vacancy on Tuesday night? Well, I could start that self-help book that everyone's raving about, or I could start a 401k, whatever that is. You see, I'd rush to fill it, fearful that I was wasting time. I used to think to myself, Hannah, why can't you just stop creating stress for yourself? Through therapy, though, once I actually started making time for it, I began to unpack that this wasn't all self-inflicted. Yes, I was the one adding to my never-ending to-do list in Google Calendar, but I am not the founder of this lifestyle that is obsessed with busyness. Our work cultures and social systems have instilled in us that more is better. Rise and grind, no days off. You can sleep when you're dead, or work hard, play harder. It's not my fault that I view productivity as external deliverables. And I was beginning to realize that my productivity obsession was not just with work or side hustles. I was becoming too aware of the number of happy hours and birthday parties I attended. My social life was also becoming a numbers game. I was out to dinner with some of my closest friends when I noticed we were trying to one-up each other with how busy we were. I got an icky feeling that we were in competition for who worked more hours this week. It sounded like an auction. Do I have 40 hours? I have 40 hours. Do I have 50 hours? I have 50 hours. Do I have 60 hours? I have 60 hours. Do I have 75 hours? 75 hours. 75 hours sold. It dawned on me that our time commitment to work was a sign of pedigree. More hours worked put you on a non-existent leaderboard. A quicker promotion made you more worthy. and disregarding work-life boundaries made you tougher. The lines between work and life were not blurred. They were non-existent. Not only did I not have time for anything, but neither did some of my closest friends. I lived in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania this past summer. I was conducting my scholarly research thesis for my master's degree. I had a general understanding that other countries view Americans as too obsessed with their work, but it took me moving 7,000 miles away from home to realize that I was one of those Americans. I was shocked to learn that businesses don't open until 9 a.m. What was I supposed to do until 9 a.m.? I was even more shocked to learn that people leave the office at 3 p.m. What was I supposed to do if I needed a response between 3 and 5 p.m.? Frankly, I was embarrassed with my productivity obsession when my supervisor frequently reminded me to eat lunch, or suggested that I break for lunch with my colleagues in the canteen rather than at my desk. I didn't have time for this, but was it that obvious? Yes, of course it was. But I was the one not respecting their work-life boundaries. I was wrongfully assuming that everyone else should be addicted to their work because that's what I was taught. I kept getting frustrated when I was told to pole pole, which means slow down in Swahili. Wasn't anyone else concerned with my self-inflicted deadlines? No. And no teacher in elementary school was telling us that we have to work 80 hours a week or use all free time for a side hustle and self-improvement. We are taught from the systems in place. Take AP courses. Secure that internship. Be multifaceted. Have a side hustle. Read that self-help book. And have 8 years of work experience and a PhD for an entry-level job. But do it all with no universal health care, no paid maternity leave, 11 days of paid time off, 3 days of bereavement, inflation, a terrible housing market, and higher taxes so the 1% can get a cut. Zendesk defines a country's productivity by GDP per capita with hours worked. So, what do you think is the most productive country in the world? The US? No. It's Luxembourg. But surely the US is in the top 5. No. What about the top 10? No. The United States ranks 12th in terms of productivity. Data from OECD and the World Bank shows that the United States is working more hours than any of the top 20 most productive countries. So, what does Luxembourg have that the US doesn't? Universal health care, 40-hour work week maximum, 5 weeks of paid time off, and mandatory maternity leave 2 months before and 3 months after delivery. Luxembourg shows that it prioritizes the well-being of its citizens. A 2023 Gallup poll found that workplaces prioritizing mental health see 13% higher productivity. Employees are 2.3 times less likely to report feeling stressed, and there is a 2.6 times higher likelihood of reduced absenteeism. Meanwhile, 2/3 of Americans experience work-related burnout. Not only are we less productive, but we are actively hurting our own well-being. And it just doesn't have to be like this. We don't have to continue working within this culture just because this is how things have always been done. Establishing boundaries does not make us weak. It makes us stronger for wanting better. My mom constantly reminds me, quality over quantity. She usually means this in the context of friendships, but it applies in this context as well. Through therapy and conversations with family and friends, I began to realize that I don't have to keep living in a constant state of panic and to-do lists. I can actually choose quality of life over the quantity of things I produce. Sure, I'm not producing as much as I once was, but I am much more content with what I am producing. And my nervous system is much more regulated too. I haven't had a panic attack in 3 years. Truth is, I am still learning how to hustle less. I still find myself overscheduling and extending myself. I still find my nervous system heightened when I hear a Teams notification. However, I've also noticed that I'm trying. I still have ambitions and goals, but I no longer equate my value as a person to my level of productivity. Productivity still includes accomplishing work-related tasks, but it also includes things like moving my body daily, taking time to read a news article, or calling a loved one. I make time for this. The biggest lesson I've learned in the past year is that two things can be true at the same time. We can still have goals, but we don't have to sacrifice our well-being in the process. We can still hustle while doing less, and we can still accomplish while also taking the advice of my Tanzanian colleagues to slow down, or to pole. Thank you.
That was awesome. I think that's such an important one. That really is an epidemic. I've seen that around just being in Clemson for the past 4 years. Like, that is so ungodly real. What he's talking about. Yeah, it's the idea of a balance. Two things can be true at the same time. It's her lips to God's ears. But during her time while she was in kind of hustle mode, when she was playing lacrosse at Georgetown, my sister played lacrosse at UConn, so they were kind of Big East rivals. So I've made my fair share of trips down to Georgetown. Let me just say, while she was in hustle mode, you could tell out there on the field. She used to kick my sister's butt for like 4 years in a row, which is so just know while she was hustling, it's going to good use, to say the least. Our next speaker. I don't know if there should be sort of like credentials for someone to give a TED Talk, but I'd say our next speaker probably quadruples it. He's a clinical associate professor here at Clemson, and he's fluent in English, Spanish, French, and Bengali. It's four languages. And he's visited 52 countries and developed programs in 20 of them. Are you kidding me? It's like I said, if there's a bar, he very well surpasses it, and I'm just so excited to introduce you all to Dr. Jose Sagarnaga.
Imagine this. I studied in some of the top universities in Latin America and Europe. And I just finished working for the G24 in one of the most important diplomatic capitals worldwide, Washington, D.C. I thought I could easily find another job, but no. All of the job opportunities required a master's or a doctorate. I had to leave to pursue a graduate degree. I was excited, I was curious, but if I'm being honest, I was nervous. I was overwhelmed. I packed up everything. I moved to a small college town in the middle of the US. I remember looking around and thinking, where are all the buildings? Why is everyone smiling and waving at me? In 2004, I landed in Stillwater, Oklahoma. And wow, what a change. I met some of the nicest people you could ever imagine. I made great friendships, and somehow this place quickly became my home. I was learning international business by day, American culture by night. I was trying to figure out what to do after grad college. I was having a great time learning, but deep down, I kept asking myself the same thing many of you might be wondering right now. Where and how do I find my purpose? And no, I didn't find it on Google. I did check. One day, in my international marketing class, one of my favorite professors assigned an article. It was a fortune at the bottom of the pyramid. Reading that article completely changed how I saw business, how I saw the world, showing that poor aren't just people in need, but a huge community full of ideas, talent, and opportunity. Hidden inside were just 2 paragraphs. They were about a professor from Bangladesh. He was the father of microfinance. He was a banker to the poor. He was Dr. Mohammed Yunus. And those paragraphs, that moment, that sparkle, changed everything. Here's what I learned. Purpose doesn't always arrive with fireworks. Sometimes it whispers. It sneaks through an article, through a simple conversation. When I read The Fortune at the bottom of the pyramid, that one paragraph lit a spark. And that spark just clicked. It set off a chain effect, one thing after another. That spark is still lighting up and shaping my life. That article, that spark, made me curious. A week later, I purchased and read Dr. Yunus's biography. I learned about microfinance, small loans equivalent to $20 to $40 to the poorest women in rural Bangladesh, so they could start a business. These loans were given to groups of 5 women, only for production, not for spending. Each woman guaranteed the others. No lawyers, no contracts, just trust. This simple idea allowed the bank to keep very high repayment rates. Small loans, simple methods, but a life-changing innovation in one of the poorest countries in Asia, back then, in early 2000s. Inspired by these stories, I took a leap. I emailed the Grameen Bank, asking for a summer research opportunity. I waited and waited. There was no answer. Weeks passed, months passed, and then one day, I finally received a reply. It was an invitation to join them for an unpaid summer position. My next challenge was figuring out how to pay for all travel expenses. I saved money and applied for every scholarship I could find. My parents gave me their blessing and some financial help. But my grandmother, this was a whole different mission. It took several conversations. She was worried, the kind of worry only a grandma could have. What if you get lost? What if you don't like the food? What if you get sick? I remember her telling me, Jose Alfredo, she always used my full name, Bangladesh is too far. There is a war in the Middle East. There was just a tsunami last year. It could be dangerous. I don't think now is the right time to go. My grandma had cancer. She didn't want me to be far away from her. After many talks, and with the help from my family and friends, I finally got her blessing to travel to Bangladesh. That summer, 20 years ago, completely changed me. I spent 3 months traveling within the capital, Dhaka, and all the villages. Everywhere I went, I met wonderful people. I interviewed women who had used Grameen Bank microloans to buy a chicken, to buy a cow, even a cell phone to rent it by the minute. With the money they earned, they repaid the loans week after week. And then they could feed their families and send their kids to school. These women were heroes. They were raising families. They were lifting villages. they were lived in Bangladesh. Dozens of Bangladeshis guided me along the way, teaching me basic Bangla. My favorite place was Abnike Monachen, Kono Shamoshanai. They were welcoming to their homes, serving delicious meals, and showing me how to eat with my right hand without burning my fingerprint. Some were wealthy, but many had so little that feeding their families even once or twice a day was a struggle. I even had the chance to work with a future Nobel Peace Prize winner, a year before most of the world recognized him. I like to think that Dr. Yunus and his team let me tag along because of my work ethic, because of my passion to service, and my willingness to serve and learn. But out of all of those encounters, one memory has stayed special in my heart. He was a boy without a home in Dhaka, the capital. He was maybe 10 or 11 years old, the same age as my son Nico. I passed him and his friends every day near the hotel. They had almost nothing, yet their joy filled the entire street. One day, after giving them high fives, I started playing with this boy. I tossed him gently into the air. He smiled, he laughed, and soon all of his friends were lining up. They were taking turns. After a few minutes and multiple rounds, I was exhausted, but it was worth it. It became our daily game. Those moments were brief, yet unforgettable. I focused on their smiles, their laughter. I never asked their names. Even today, I regret not knowing his name. During my last week in Bangladesh, the boy gave me his red bandana, the one he wore every day. He had almost nothing, yet he gave me one of the most precious things he had. That bandana, still with me. It is a reminder that small actions, a smile, a game, a moment of presence, can last forever. So how do you find your purpose? Before working with the Grameen Bank, I had planned a safe career in finance or management. Something comfortable, something predictable, close to my hometown. But in those villages, I realized something. This work wasn't just about microloans. This was about transformation. This was about purpose. I hadn't found a job. I had found a calling. I have realized that purpose is something you can find in multiple single moments. It's discovered in sparks that can appear anywhere. I call them the 3 sparks of discovery. Spark number 1, small moments matter. With this means things as, this is just a class, just an article, just a conversation. But those sparks are powerful. The one paragraph changed my life. Pay attention, lean in. That spark could ignite your purpose. Spark number 2, service redefines success. In Bangladesh, success wasn't measured in profits. It was measured in human impact. If I chase the biggest corporate job, I will gain comfort, but lose meaning. Purpose grows when you shift the question from what can I get to what can I give. Success isn't climbing higher. Success is lifting others as you rise. Spark number 3, your career is a platform, not a paycheck. My journey brought me to academia. I teach, I mentor students. I travel abroad with them. I see business as a spark of transformation. But it's not about my path, it's about yours. Your career is more than a job. It's a platform that makes choices that ripple outward to shape communities, to shape our countries, to shape the world. Why does this matter? Especially for you. Because you're stepping into a world full of challenges, technological disruptions, inequalities, automation, AI. Scary and overwhelming, right? But you're also stepping into a world full of possibilities. This generation is the most globally connected, socially aware, technologically equipped ever. And many of you are asking tougher questions like, what does this organization or company stand for? Why should I give my time, my talent here? Sparks of change are contagious. My spark in a classroom rippled to Bangladesh, then to the boy without a home, then to my students, and now into this room. Imagine the ripple effect you could create if you follow your sparks and lean into service. Purpose isn't just personal, it is social. Purpose doesn't change you, it changes everyone you touch. Here is the message. Don't wait for the perfect plan to find your purpose. It is not hiding in a faraway place. It's right here, in the sparks of everyday life. Listen to them, to the class that excites you, to that problem that keeps you awake, to that story that breaks your heart. That's the journey calling you out. Pay attention. This could be your spark. That article changed my life. One research opportunity with Dr. Yunus redirected my career. One spark ignited my purpose. And now I ask you, what will be your spark? Your actions can ignite transformation. A spark becomes a ripple. A ripple becomes a fire that it can ignite the world. When that happens, we create something far better than ourselves. That is what it means to live with purpose. That is your discovery. That is how you create it. Thank you.
These people are the absolute coolest. Are you kidding me? Success is lifting other people as they rise. Like he came up with that. That came out of his mouth. Like that was his thought. It's just cool stuff, and it's I feel a spark. I feel sparks coming for all of us soon. Let's keep our eyes out for sparks. I sense it. And I also kind of want to ask if you'll throw me like the kids in Bangladesh after the show. I feel like that'd be fun. I want to line up for that. You know what my favorite sounds in the English language is? It's this. You ready? Huh. And accompanied with kind of like an eye-opening type of thing. It's if any speaker embodies like huh, which is I'm pretty sure what TED is all about. It's the next one. He's a professor of philosophy, which is the coolest thing ever, by the way. Like, he teaches about the fundamental questioning of existence. That's my kind of butchered definition of it. I just think it's the coolest thing ever, but I digress. He's a former Wall Street investment banker as well. On top of all that, he's a published author. If you guys aren't ready to learn and be inspired and kind of, again, you can walk out right now. Please welcome to the stage Dr. Charlie Kurth.
So, I have a confession. I used to be on the dark side. I used to be a Wall Street investment banker. But I've reformed my ways. I'm now a philosopher who thinks about emotions and the good life. But I'm here today to talk less about that little career shift and more about the emotions, the boredom, the anxiety, the shame, the envy that I experienced in making that transition. This then is a story about how our emotions, particularly our negative emotions, can cue us into what we really care about. It's a story about how it can be good to feel bad. Now, what I'll be talking about is informed not just by my experiences moving from finance to philosophy, but also by the research that I and others have done on emotions like anxiety and shame. So let's get started. It's the late 1990s, and I've just graduated from college. I've got a great job as an investment banker in hand. These are some of the go-go years on Wall Street. So there I am, flying around on private jets, having fancy dinners on corporate expense accounts, zipping around New York City in limousines. Was it fun? You bet. But then it wasn't. The novelty wore off. The things that I had found interesting, the research, the financial modeling, the travel, just became boring. It was just spreadsheets, as far as my eyes could see. I was so bored, I played this little game. I would take pencils and throw them like darts into the ceiling tiles above my desk. I was trying to see how many I could get to stick up there. I was dying for a distraction, anything to get away from those spreadsheets. But my boredom was telling me something. It was telling me to get out. But it was also pushing me to think about why I was unhappy and what better might look like. And when we look to the research on boredom, this is what it says. Boredom is a goad. We feel bored because we don't find whatever we're doing to be very stimulating. And when we're bored, we start searching around for something more interesting to do. In my case, I came to see in doing the banker thing, I wasn't using my head in the ways that I wanted to. But I also started to think back about how some of those philosophy classes that I had taken as a college senior did stimulate me. And so I got this crazy idea. Quit the job. Get a job and pursue a career in philosophy. Now, my boredom was central in helping me see that it was time to leave and getting me thinking a little bit about what better might look like. But that's all it did. Whether I would actually be any good at philosophy remained a complete mystery. And that takes us to the next step in my emotional journey, from boredom to anxiety. So, after I quit my job, I enrolled as an auditor in a graduate philosophy course. I wanted to see if philosophy was really going to be for me. I was super excited. I was starting this new adventure. This is exactly where I wanted to be. But very quickly, it became clear that I had no idea what I was doing. The other graduate students in the class, they were saying things that made absolutely no sense to me. Things like, the conclusion of a practical syllogism is an action. You can't cross the gap from an is to an ought. Does that make any sense to you? Yeah, me neither. I was in that class and it was like everybody but me was speaking Chinese. And that's when the anxiety hit. I mean, I just quit my job on Wall Street. My salary went from really, really good to like nothing. And the initial feedback that I was getting from the professor and the others in the class was that I was more or less clueless in the classroom. Add to all that I was also back in my parents' basement living. I mean, cue the cliches. Philosopher in parents' basement. So it was big time anxiety. I worried that I was making a huge mistake. And my anxiety, though unpleasant for sure, was good for me. I know that sounds strange. Anxiety, good? But give me a second here. In the thralls of my anxiety, I became acutely focused on my doubts and my worries. Had I made a mistake? Was I really hopeless? But my anxiety got me to push a little bit further. I started thinking about whether this hopelessness in the classroom was a temporary thing or a sign of genuine incompetence. And so to try and work through that, I started talking to people who had been where I was, other graduate students, professors in the department where I was. And from this, I got a better sense for what was underlying my anxieties. Yeah, grad school is challenging. And it's completely normal to feel overwhelmed, especially if you're like me and you're coming back to school after a stint working in the real world. So while my anxiety didn't go away, it started to mellow. More importantly, in working through my anxiety, I came to see that I could be a philosopher, at least after these growing pains subsided. So here's a little secret. My experiences with anxiety, they're not unusual. When you look at the research that I and others have done on anxiety, what we see is that anxiety oftentimes, but of course not always, is a useful emotion. Anxiety acts as kind of an alarm. It's a signal that we face a big challenge or an uncertain problem. And when we're anxious, we start focusing intently on whatever it is that we're worried about. We're trying to work out what to do in a situation that we're in. And that's what my anxiety did for me. It helped me figure these things out. So hit fast forward. About a year has gone by, and I've just sent out a bunch of applications to PhD programs in philosophy. I'm taking the next step, really committing to this career change thing. Super excited about where I am. Around that same time, I'm at a family wedding, and I run into my uncle. This is a man that I've spent most of my life idolizing, a man whose opinions really matter to me. He asked me what I've been up to, and so I tell him, well, quit the Wall Street job, and I'm going to get a PhD in philosophy. Isn't this great? His response was immediate. What the hell are you doing? Wow. Didn't see that coming. Why is my uncle so upset? What's going on here? After that initial disorientation faded away, though, the shame kicked in. I was feeling ashamed because I felt I let my uncle down. Part of the reason that I admired him so much is that he had high expectations for me. He pushed me to do better. But given his comment, it seemed that I'd fallen short in his eyes. I'd failed. But this was good. My shame was good. Again, I know that sounds strange, so let me explain. Shame is a complicated emotion. It's tied up with our self-conceptions, our sense of who we are and who we want to be. And our self-conceptions are shaped by all kinds of things. The people we hang out with, influencers, society more generally. And this can lead us to feel ashamed about silly deficiencies. Things like how our nose looks, or our ethnicity, or where our parents went to college. It's this kind of shame that can be a problem. It's the shame that gives the emotion a bad name. But we can also be ashamed because our actions fall short of our values and our ideals. Things that, unlike what the influencers usually tell us, really are important. Things like being a good student or a compassionate husband. It's this kind of shame that philosophers like Confucius and Aristotle thought was really important, crucial to becoming a better person. So then the tricky thing about shame is trying to understand why we're experiencing it. Are we experiencing shame because we really did something shameful? Or are we feeling shame because we've failed to do what the influencers think we should be doing? In my case, this question amounted to something like this. In walking away from Wall Street, am I selling myself and my ideals short? And I think that this is what my uncle was getting at with this question at the wedding. He wasn't trying to make me feel ashamed. Rather, he wanted to make sure that if I was going to be making this radical career shift, I was doing it because I thought it would get someplace that I really wanted to be. So his question at the wedding and the shame it brought, it got me thinking. What do I want to do? What do I really care about? And the answer for me was that I wanted to be thinking about big questions, like the one I was wrestling with at that very moment. What makes for a life worth living? What does the good life look like? And so the answer for me started to be, you need to be a philosopher. Now, there's a subtlety here that's important. The kind of shame that I was experiencing was the right kind of shame. The kind of shame that Aristotle and Confucius saw as important. So this is good. But as I thought more about what I really cared about, I came to see that in walking away from Wall Street, I wasn't doing anything shameful. Actually, I was doing something that was in line with the things that I really cared about. So in a real sense, my shame was mistaken. But even though my shame was mistaken, it was still good for me to be experiencing it. Working through that messy emotion helped me see that I was on the right track. It was kind of an emotional gut check. So, stepping back, if my anxiety helped me see that I could be a philosopher, my shame and working through it helped me see that I was moving in the right direction. So I was learning from my emotions. This is good. But there were more bumps in the road ahead. So hit fast forward again. A couple of years have gone by, and I'm making progress on my degree. I decide to go back to New York City to visit with some old friends from my banking days. Our conversations are varied, but there's a common theme. My old colleagues are all talking about the business deals they're doing, the cars, the condos, the clothes that their plump paychecks allow them to buy. And here I am, a measly grad student. I can barely buy a round of beers. I feel weird about all this. I'm not sure why. Then it hits me. I'm envious. And that's even more strange. I mean, I quit Wall Street exactly because this kind of stuff left me bored. So why the envy? To get a better sense for what's going on here, we need to know a little bit more about envy. Envy, as we all know, is supposed to be one of the 7 deadly sins. What's less appreciated, though, is that envy can be a force for the good. Think about it. When we're feeling envious, we're comparing ourselves to others. And we feel envy because we think somebody else, one of our rivals, is doing better than us. Envy then pushes us to try and become better, to outdo them. So notice, getting the good stuff out of envy requires that we have a sense for who our rivals are and whether we should be trying to outdo them. Now, it took me a while to figure all this out, but I was mistaken in thinking that my old colleagues were rivals. Yeah, they had been back when I was in banking, but they weren't anymore. And once I realized this, I started to see that I didn't need a condo in the mountains. I didn't need the newest BMW. These weren't the people I needed to try and outdo. My envy started to fade. So that's the tale of my emotional journey. But there's an epilogue to my story here that I want to conclude with. I was recently asked whether, given all the research on emotions that I do, if I ever feel things like anxiety or shame. Of course I do. I'm human. But I'm now better able to understand what I'm feeling and why. So for instance, I was recently changed jobs again, but this time it wasn't anxiety provoking. Part of the reason is that I'm still doing what I love. I just moved from doing philosophy at one university to another. But other things do make me anxious, and they should. Our parents get Alzheimer's. Things go sideways at work. Our kids get bullied at school. What should we do in situations like these? Those are anxiety-provoking situations, and it's completely normal to feel anxiety when we face a situation like that. In fact, being anxious in those situations reflects well on you. It's a sign that you're emotionally attuned to the gravity of the situation that you're experiencing. You're worried about something that really is worrisome. But of course, our anxiety and our emotions more generally can get it wrong. So there's this skill we need to develop, the skill of understanding what we're feeling and why. So then, putting all of this together, what did we learn? Well, we can see that there can be a real upside to feeling bad. But we can also see that we need to practice working through our messy emotions. Thank you.
Just so cool. It's yeah, I sort of feel like I can feel my brain being rewired in real time when I listen to these people, you know what I mean? It's just such an important concept, just shame and envy, just very unexplored emotions. And yeah, that was just A1 TED Talk. And I was thinking while I was listening, I was like, wow, he's a philosophy teacher here at Clemson. I would love to take this guy for a class, but I just don't know if I I'm gonna spend the next 2-3 months just kind of digesting that before he could even ever talk to me again. So I feel like I got to take his class maybe twice a year just so I can really take it all in. But it's an amazing one again. And our next speaker is so cool. So, next speaker, not one but 2-time Clemson graduate. Once getting her Bachelor of Arts in English, and then her Master's in Real Estate Development. Listen to this. Former DJ, current real estate developer. She went from dropping the bass to dropping the bass rent. She went from remixing tracks to remixing buildings. Oh, yo, getting crazy on this Saturday. Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker is it's so cool. Next speaker is named Raquel Collier. Give her a huge round of applause.
Zora Neale Hurston famously wrote, "There are years that ask questions, and there are years that answer them." Today, I want to take you on the journey to see the answers that have been with you the entire time. Let's set the scene. You're a DJ. It's hot, humid, loud. That's evidence that you're doing an amazing job. You're on this raised platform. You look around, you see groups taking shots, jumping up and down. It even looks like there's a couple that is on their first date. You can tell because it's a gift that comes with the job. You got one earphone over your ear, listening to play the next song. The other ear is listening for the rhythm in the room. It's time to pick the next song. The pressure's on. What do we choose? Should we play a call and response type of song? But wait a minute, there's a group all the way in the back. It looks like they might be at their limit. I don't know if I want to take them up any higher. But there's another group. I want to raise their energy a little bit. How can I balance this out? Right now, their experience is in your hands. You're responsible for creating the moments and memories that they'll remember in the morning over brunch, as well as years to come. This was my experience as a DJ, where I was responsible for crowds as small as 50 up to 10,000. I called myself Chef Rocky because I wanted my guests to trust me to conduct the evening the same way you would trust a chef to deliver a delicious meal to the table without worry. Show up, let go, enjoy yourself. Creativity flowed abundantly. It was impossible to run out of songs, so every night was unique from the last. Raise your hand if you ever had a night out that you still reminisce about today. Okay. Keep your hand up if that same night had nothing to do with the drinks, the venue, or even the music, but everything to do with how you remember feeling that night. Great. You can put your hands down. But that feeling that you're remembering, that's what I was responsible for creating as a DJ. That will go on to be the invisible thread that would weave through my entire journey, but I just didn't know what to call it yet. The late nights and early mornings started to take a toll, but there was one night in particular that really changed everything. I'm in the middle of my set, and all of a sudden, a SWAT team comes through the door. It's 4 a.m. What is going on? Absolute chaos. I cut the music, watch people scatter, but this felt like a wake-up call. I didn't need to be in this environment. When the music faded that night, so did something inside of me. So I switched it up. I started doing more weddings, and one wedding per weekend turned into 2 per weekend. It was excellent cash flow, but horrible for my self-expression. Now I'm responsible for doing exactly what the bride and groom want, not what I want. So you know that thread that I mentioned? Well, right now, consider it tangled. I didn't know what I was doing. But I always wanted to do something bigger, just didn't know what. And then somewhere in the midst of this, my best friend slid a brochure in front of me for Clemson's Master of Real Estate Development program. What is this? Did she really think I could do this? Commercial real estate? This seemed way out of my league and way out of my comfort zone. But also, let's be real, I hate math. So what am I gonna do with this? But remember, I always wanted to do something else. I knew I wanted to run a business. Maybe this could be it. So I took the leap, and I absolutely loved it. I learned about how buildings communicate with their environment and how they contribute to the community. So here I was, an English major, who spent years learning about how stories can shape experience. But now I'm also learning that buildings can tell their own stories too. Pay attention to that. I heard a voice saying, there's something there, pay attention. I didn't know what it was, but okay, I hear you. That's what I said. But who would have known that I would grow to love real estate development? Had I not given myself the chance to try it, I would have never known. This development thing merged all of my interests: creativity, community, business, and it also afforded me the quality of life that I always wanted. And I also would grow to actually appreciate math, and I even love spreadsheets now. So in the midst of this, I'm still DJing and practicing as a real estate developer. And then everything stopped. March 2020, no rooms to fill, no parties happening, nobody needs a DJ. And where I used to be the conductor of the night, and I used to use DJing as a form of expression, I had lost that. I didn't know who I was because I had been wrapped up in DJing for so long. That was my identity. But I told myself, Raquel, you have the power to change. You can make a choice. Because I was always 1 foot out, 1 foot in, real estate, DJ, DJ, real estate. But something's got to give if I'm trying to get to the next level. So I did it. I burned the boats. I knew I had to get rid of DJing if I wanted to progress to the next thing. So I wouldn't look back. And I formally retired as a DJ, solely focusing on my real estate development firm. Again, I didn't quite know who I was at this time because I had been DJing for so long. But I realized DJing taught me something invaluable, and that was how to read a room and how to set the atmosphere. You see, most people, they enter a room and they see tables and chairs. But when I enter a room, I see who's isolated, who's comfortable. How can we ignite this space, bring it to life a little bit more? And that would actually become my superpower later on. I just didn't know it at the time. So life goes on. We continue to grow. And as an effort to stay sharp and challenge myself, I explored sobriety for 2 years. All of a sudden, I had the time and clarity to see something that I had never seen before. Just like I had the power to change the song, to change the vibe of a room, I found that changing the habit opened me up to an entirely new world. So I started spending more time in coffee shops. And I noticed that around 5 p.m., 5 or 6, they closed, and the natural transition was to go from coffee shop to a restaurant or bar. First of all, I can only eat so much. And then secondly, the bars were the very places I was trying to distance myself from then. So when the soothing music of a coffee shop came to an end and it was silent, I didn't have anywhere to go. I wasn't quite ready to go home yet. And I didn't really know how to articulate this to anybody, honestly, without feeling crazy. So I did what I do best. I did some research. And that's when I discovered third places. See, we all have home, which is our first place, and work is your second place, or school. And then there's this third place that we all go to experience community. It could be a cafe, coffee shop, church, gym, the list goes on. Wherever you go to find yourself in community, that's your third place. So I paused and I heard that voice again. Okay, this third place thing, there's something about it. Pay attention. And I did an audit of all of my favorite third places. And I realized they were all relational and not transactional. They create these moments that make you want to continue to show up and return. For example, in our backyard here in Greenville, South Carolina, there is a quaint coffee shop, Augusta 20. When you enter the space, you'll hear the barista speaking to returning guests saying, "Oh, I love when you wear that shirt." or remembering their order. Or sometimes you might see the owner walking around the floor, asking anybody if they need refills, tapping shoulders, making conversation. That interaction makes you feel like they really want you there. They want you to continue to show up. Maybe even if you don't show up, they might miss you. And I realized that's what I was creating through DJing. I was always providing space for people to feel like themselves authentically and to be able to show up. And it was also what I was trying to do in real estate. I heard this voice saying, we need more third places. Okay, what do I do with that? And I realized that would actually go on to be my invisible thread. It was the way that I showed up in this world. You see, everything that I had done, everything that moved me was all about creating space for people to connect and come alive. Whether it was through music, filling a room, or through physical space, bringing communities together. It had been in my face the entire time, and I just didn't see it. So here's what I want you to understand. Your purpose, it isn't what you do. It's that invisible thread that connects everything you do. Instead of asking, what's my passion? Pause and ask, what's my invisible thread? Finding my invisible thread actually helped me realize something that never sat right with me. So my favorite book is The Alchemist, and the ending was frustrating. The main character, Santiago, goes on this journey just to find out the treasure he had been looking for the entire time was under a tree where he started. And I was just like, that's it. When I finished the book, there's nothing else. He went on this whole journey just to end up where he started. And then one day, seemingly, like a coconut falling from the tree, the answer hit me in my head. And this is where I made the connection. See, my grandma, she always used to tell me, live a little bit longer and things will make sense. And I would always think, yeah, Grandma, but not right now. Like, I need the answer today. What are you really saying? But when I thought about it, what she was trying to get me to understand as well was the journey wasn't about reaching somewhere new. It was about seeing what I'd always carried with me. The journey wasn't about reaching somewhere new. It was about realizing what I always carried with me. So she was right, like she always was. As a DJ, I took a room and filled it with joy, chants, laughter, whatever you want to call it. But now, as a real estate developer, I have the pleasure of planning the space for a community to experience it the way that they want to. They feel comfortable enough to show up authentically in a room. And it took me years to realize I had always been an architect of experience, whether it was through sound or space. Your past, it isn't a series of random chapters. It's a single story being woven by your invisible thread. So trust that every experience has been preparing you for something meaningful. And again, I want to encourage you all to pause. Find your invisible thread. Stop chasing careers. Start chasing that thread that makes you come alive. Think about that thing you're always critiquing or you always want to improve. That could very well be your invisible thread speaking. Find new ways to express it. And as you listen for your invisible thread, and spend time with yourself and make it make sense for you, I want you to remember this. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. Cheers!
feel like I want to climb a mountain. Ugh. These people rock. And it's, yeah, The Alchemist is, I'm not a big reader. It's one of the few books I've read in my day by Paulo Coelho, if you've never read it. And it's, that's her wisdom speaking, because I finished the book, again,
Un-ice cubing.
I put ice cubes in my shoes to keep me awake. I put ice cubes on my eyeballs so when they melt, I wake up. Yeah, right. Alarms don't work for me. I have like 7 of them. They go off. I can't wake up no matter what. I've developed a solution. Black ice on my eyelids overnight. They melt slowly. Once they melt, there's a puddle of water on my face. This puddle of water, it wakes me up in the morning. It's just enough time to get, that needed 5 hours of sleep to wake up for my 9 to 5.
All right, and for our third round, can we get a suggestion of an activity? Swimming. Mock turtle soup.
I like to go swimming in the lake.
I like to go swimming in 6-inch water.
I like to go swimming in a kiddie pool.
I like to swim fully clothed.
I like to swim fully naked.
I like to swim with my floaties on. I like to swim in the sewers.
I like to swim in the sewers, but only with my socks on.
When I'm in the sewers when I swim, I got my socks on and I also got a skateboard.
I like to swim in the sewers a lot. I do it constantly.
I like to swim in volcanoes.
I like to swim through outer space.
Yeah, right.
Hello. My name is Glingle I am the first alien astronaut of my planet. I like to take my wonderful spaceship into the solar system, and then I look out and I'm like, wow, that sun is beautiful. The stars are so incredible. I wish I could be just a little bit closer to them. So one day I did. I opened the hatch. Didn't have a spacesuit on, because I am an alien. We don't have those. And I just coasted through the sky. I looked a little bit like... It was wonderful. I felt the light within me because sun was still there. It was really, really hot. But as I slowly went towards the sun, I realized this be it.
All right. Thank you to our improvisers for the first game. And so our second game is going to have Thomas, Madison, and Ellie, and it is going to be called Circle of Friends. So you will see our three lovely improvisers act out as a group of friends to where they are going to be giving their friends traits that you will then see on stage. So for this, can I get a suggestion of a location? School.
Okay.
All right. Mock turtle soup.
Hey guys,
Hey.
you ready for the test tomorrow?
I mean, I guess so. I feel like I haven't studied as much as I should. How do you feel?
Well, I don't have friends, so all I do is study, and
Oh my
So I feel
god,
pretty good.
Susie, you're such a nerd.
I know, Daniel. You tell me that every day.
Me, as my wonderful position of captain of the soccer team, I don't need studying. You know what I do?
Oh. No, what?
Soccer, I just said that.
Oh.
Yeah, but
Do
I'm
soccer?
really good at it.
Oh, so
But you've studied, so you have like all the answers then, right?
well, yeah, I guess so. Maybe not all the answers, but
But like you're like really smart, so you like definitely like have all the answers, right?
I guess sure. Like not all the. I mean, maybe all the answers to this test, but not like all the answers more.
Have we ever like all sat together like next to each other like in class before? Like we
No.
totally should do that for the test.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be honest, I feel like you're trying to hint something to me. I'm not getting it.
that'd be cool if you guys sat next to me. I'm used to you ignoring me completely because you think I'm a loser.
We will for sure sit next to you in class.
Why are you nodding like that?
Okay. Well, here, let me go get some of my notes for you so that so we can share your notes and maybe we can make a study group.
That's
Oh.
great. That's great. You go do
Alright.
that. You get Jonathan. I'm trying to say she has all the answers so we can get the answers from her during the test.
Ah!
Yes.
Yeah.
I know she's not the best. The really expressive eyebrows are getting to me.
Yeah, I gotta say, there are a few things that aren't adding up right now.
Like what?
Well, let's be honest. Whenever she walks into a room, she just... You know, like, she always has one foot on the ground,
She's
and I
just
don't...
sliding and stuff. And when she talks, it's so expressive and just.
It's kind of weird.
But I feel like it's
right?
fine during the test because we'll.
Hey,
just sit in-
guys.
Oh.
Hey.
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 How's it going? I got all my notes. Are you ready?
Great.
To
great,
study?
Susie. Yeah.
Let me come stand over here.
Yeah,
in
it's
front.
okay.
Wow.
It's all right.
Look, see here.
Wow.
Right here,
Yeah.
the square root of pi.
Yeah, I'll get my
And then
notes
we
out.
you had this, you had 7, and then you times it all by 5, and then that's glycolysis.
Okay.
Susie, you're kind of freaking me out.
Just a little bit, but it's okay. It's okay. So if I carry wow.
Okay, yeah.
You take that over there. I was gonna say that if you carried the 1 of that first equation, would you not get a negative number?
Do you have all the answers?
Okay. Cool. And we're done.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Great.
I'm the smart
She
one.
roasted you.
Yep. Okay.
You got told right now.
I'm gonna take some time to reflect.
Yeah, you do that.
Bye, Lydia.
See ya.
Dude, she's soaking wet. Like,
I didn't want to mention it.
I don't know if it's sweat. I don't know what it is.
No, it's
but
not sweat.
She is,
I don't think it's sweat.
she's like dripping wet. Like she just got out of the shower or something. I don't know.
You know, like dunk tanks?
Yeah.
I feel like she's like inhabiting that right now.
In
You know what I
inhabiting
mean?
Sure. Sure.
Like she
because
fell
I have all the
into the
answers.
dunk tank.
Of course.
You
Right,
know?
of course. Right, of course. Probably in carnival class.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Before PE.
The dunk tank we have here, obviously.
Yeah. I also kind of just want to point out this. It's kind of weird. Why is she always? It's like she doesn't use her elbows. Like her arms are always like.
Yeah. Yeah, I have noticed that. Like a Lego creature.
Yeah, they're all out.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
It really throws the water everywhere too. It's or whatever that liquid.
Hey
oh,
guys.
Hey Lydia.
Oh, hey.
Don't slip. Careful.
I
careful.
took some time to reflect.
Yep.
Oh, I'm feeling better. Good
yeah.
about the test.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, well, I was thinking over there, and I was like, I think with the test, if we all just us 3 sit next to each other,
Okay.
then we could all like not. I don't want to say cheat because we're not cheating.
Oh, no,
we're
we
definitely
can't
not
cheat.
cheating. But like if we kind of just gave each other some encouragement throughout the test, like if you looked at my answers and it was wrong, you would. But if it was right, you would. Just encouraging as friends,
No, right.
as
no, it's okay.
as
It's okay.
friends,
Okay. Yeah.
as friends do.
Yeah. Do you need a towel or something?
What is this?
A towel.
I think I need to wring out my shirt.
We don't. I
yeah,
don't
good.
think
You
I
go
need
do
a towel.
I'll be back. I gotta.
Okay.
Like I'm
Yeah,
swimming.
Get in test mode. Oh,
Sorry.
hey Susie.
Sorry, I overslid. What's his deal?
Yeah, it's like we bring up his past and he like freaks out.
I know. Like he goes fully mental.
I don't know what that is. Like
I-
I don't really even know him that well, so sometimes when I bring up his past, I don't even realize it's his past. It's just like a word, and he like
Yeah.
freaks out.
You know, it's like he's been in a like I don't even know. I don't even know.
This guy's messed
He's
up.
like he's like the main character in a spy movie or something. And like every time, you know, like with the
Yeah,
soldier,
yeah,
every
and
time
he just like
comes
stares off into
fast.
the distance like it's some like big thing. I don't.
It's intense, dude.
It
Intense
is
for a
It
16-year-old.
is so intense.
Oh,
It's so intense.
oh, thank you.
Hey guys, I'm back.
Oh, hey,
Oh,
Daniel.
hey.
You took a while.
Yeah.
In there.
I like to take a while because I feel like I just have things to do.
Well,
We sure definitely have things to do. I mean, we got this test. I feel good about it. I think Susie, she's definitely setting us up for success here.
Yeah. Yeah, about that.
What? Yeah.
You're gonna give us the answers, right?
Oh well, I mean I could, but you remember last year when we tried that and then you got in trouble, Daniel?
Got in trouble.
Yeah. You remember that, don't you?
Oh, are you talking about his past?
Oh, no, I forgot.
Oh, Daniel, Daniel. Listen, we're just
No, I'm
trying
sorry,
to take
I'm sorry.
the
We just
Daniel.
forget about it. Just focus on the future.
Daniel,
Come
No,
on,
I can't
Daniel.
focus
leave
on
the past
future.
behind you. It's okay,
No,
Daniel.
no.
We just gotta take. Come on, it's only like 25 questions. It'll be fine.
I don't care if it's 25 questions. You mentioned my past.
Oh, you mentioned
know
his
you
past.
can't do
Susie.
that.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Do you want to talk it out?
Yeah, I can talk it out.
All right.
Oh.
Hey, you come too.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just. Yeah, let's talk it out from a distance.
I feel like you don't really want to talk it out.
I'd love to talk it out, but I feel like I'm in a tsunami, kinda.
All right. You're going to give us the answers, right?
And scene. All right. Thank you for coming and staying for our second set. We'll see you later.
Okay. What time are we being back? 1:30. Okay. So at 1:30, be back in your seats. Be ready so we can do the afternoon session. You guys ready? Let's go.